The Buyid dynasty or the Buyids, also known as Buyids, 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 or Buyids, was a Shia Muslim dynasty which originated from Lahajan in Daylem, coupled with the rise of other Iranian dynasties in the region. The approximate century of Buyid rule represents the period in Iranian history sometimes called the Iranian Intermezzo, since after the Islamic invasion of Persia, it was an interlude between the rule of the Abbasid Arabs and the Seljuk Turks. The Buyid dynasty was founded by Ali ibn Buyid, who in 934 conquered Fars and made Shiraz his capital, while his younger brother Hassan ibn Buyid conquered parts of Jabil in the late 930s, and by 943 managed to capture Ray, which he made his capital. In 945, the youngest brother, Ahmad ibn Buyid, conquered Iraq and made Baghdad his capital, receiving the honorific title of Buyids al-Dawla, while Ali was given the title of Imad al-Dawla, and Hassan was given the title of Iukn al-Dawla. As Daylemite Iranians, the Buyids consciously revived symbols and practices of Persia's Sassanid dynasty. In fact, beginning with Adad al-Dawla, they used the ancient Sassanid title Shahanshah, literally, King of Kings. At its greatest extent, the Buyid dynasty encompassed most of today's Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, and Syria, along with parts of Oman, the UAE, Turkey, Afghanistan and Pakistan. During the 10th and 11th centuries, just prior to the invasion of the Seljuk Turks, the Buyids were the most influential dynasty in the Middle East, and under King Adad al-Dawla, became one of the most powerful Muslim dynasties. Origins. The Buyids were descendants of Panakush Rao, a Zoroastrian from Daylem. He had a son named Buyid, who was a fisherman from Lahajan, and later left his Zoroastrian faith and converted to Islam. Buyid later had three sons named Ahmad, Ali, and Hassan, who would later carve the Buyid kingdom together. According to Lokman I, Meho and Kelly L. Maglafla, the Buyids were of Kurdish origin. However, most historians state that the Buyids were of Daylemite origin. The Buyids claimed royal Sassanid lineage. History. Rise. The founder of the dynasty, Ali ibn Buyid, was originally a soldier in the service of the Daylemite warlord Makan ibn Kaki, but later changed his adherence to the Iranian ruler Mardavij, who had established the Ziyarid dynasty, and was himself related to the ruling dynasty of Gilan, a region bordering Daylem. Ali was later joined by his two younger brothers, Hassan ibn Buyid and Ahmad ibn Buyid. In 932, Ali was given Karaj as his fief, and thus was able to enlist other Daylemites into his own army. However, Ali's independent actions made Mardavij plan to have him killed, but fortunately for Ali, he was informed of Mardavij's plan by the latter's own vizier. The Buyid's brother, with 400 of their Daylemite supporters, then fled to Fars, where they managed to take control of Arajan. However, the Buyids and the Abbasid general Yaqut shortly came into a struggle for the control of Fars, which the Buyids eventually emerged victorious in. This victory opened the way for the conquest of the capital of Fars, Shiraz. Ali also made an alliance with the landowners of Fars, which included the Fasanjas family, which would later produce many prominent statesmen for the Buyids. Furthermore, Ali also to enlist more soldiers, which included the Turks, who were made part of cavalry. Ali then sent his brother Ahmad on an expedition to Kerman, but was forced to withdraw from them after opposition from the Baluchis and the Qafs. However, Mardavij, who sought to depose the Abbasid Caliph of Baghdad and recreate a Zoroastrian Iranian empire, shortly wrested Khuzestan from the Abbasids and forced Ali to recognize him as his suzerain. Luckily for the Buyids, Mardavij was shortly assassinated in 935, which caused chaos in the Ziyarid territories. A perfect situation for the Buyid brothers. Ali and Ahmad conquered Khuzestan, while Hassan captured the Ziyarid capital of Isfahan. and in 943 captured Ray, which became his capital, thus conquering all of Jibal. In 945, Ahmad entered Iraq and made the Abbasid Caliph his vassal, and at the same receiving the honorific title of Mu'izz al-Dawla, while Ali was given the title of Imad al-Dawla, and Hassan was given the title of Iukn al-Dawla. Height of power and golden age. In addition to the other territories the Buyids had conquered, Kerman was conquered in 967, Oman, the Jazara, Tabaristan, and Gorgan. After this, however, the Buyids went into a slow decline, with pieces of the confederation gradually breaking off and local dynasties under their rule becoming de facto independent. Decline and fall. The death of Adad al-Dawla is considered the starting point of the decline of the Buyid dynasty. His son Abu Khalid al-Marziban, who was in Baghdad at the time of his death, first kept his death secret in order to ensure his succession and avoid civil war. When he made the death of his father public, he was given the title of Samsam al-Dawla. However, Adad's other son, Sherdal Abul Fawarish, challenged the authority of Samsam al-Dawla, resulting in a civil war. Meanwhile, a Marwanid chieftain named Badh seized Diyarbakir and forced Samsam al-Dawla to recognize him as the vassal ruler of the region. Furthermore, Muayyad al-Dawla also died during this period, and he was succeeded by Fake al-Dawla, who with the aid of Muayyad al-Dawla's vizier Sahib ibn Abad became the ruler of Muayyad al-Dawla's possessions. Another son of Adad al-Dawla, Abu Tahir Firuz Shah, established himself as the ruler of Basra and took the title of Diya al-Dawla, while another son, Abul Hussein Ahmad, established himself as the ruler of Khuzestan, taking the title of Taj al-Dawla. Sherdal Abul Fawarish quickly seized Oman from Samsam al-Dawla, and in 983, the Turkic troops of Samsam al-Dawla mutinied against him, and left Iraq for Fars, but most of them were persuaded by his relative Ziyar ibn Sharakawayh to stay in Iraq. However, unfortunately for Samsam al-Dawla, Iraq was in grim affairs, and several rebellions occurred, which he, however, managed to suppress. The most dangerous rebellion being under Asfar ibn Kurdaway, who tried to make Abu Nasr Firuz Kashad the ruler of Iraq. During the same period, Samsam al-Dawla also managed to seize Basra and Khuzestan, forcing his two brothers to flee to Fake al-Dawla's territory. During the mid-11th century, the Buyid Amorites gradually fell to the Ghaznavid and Seljuk Turks. In 1029, Majd al-Dawla, who was facing an uprising by his Daylami troops in Ray, requested assistance from Mahmud of Ghazna. When Sultan Mahmud arrived, he deposed Majd al-Dawla, replaced him with a Ghaznavid governor and ended the Buyid dynasty in Ray. In 1055, Tufril conquered Baghdad, the seat of the caliphate, and ousted the last of the Buyid rulers. Like the Buyids, the Seljuks kept the Abbasid Caliphate as the titular ruler. Government. The Buyids established a confederation in Iraq and western Iran. This confederation formed three principalities, one in Fars, with Shiraz as its capital, the second one in Jibal, with Ray as its capital, and the last one in Iraq, with Baghdad as its capital. However, during their late period, more principalities formed in the Buyid confederation. Succession of power was hereditary, with fathers dividing their land among their sons. The title used by the Buyid rulers was Emir, meaning governor, or prince. Generally one of the emirs would be recognized as having seniority over the others. This individual would use the title of Emir al-Umara, or senior emir. Although the senior emir was the formal head of the Buyids, he did not usually have any significant control outside of his own personal emirate. Each emir enjoyed a high degree of autonomy within his own territories. As mentioned above, some of the stronger emirs used the Sassanid title of Shahanshah. Furthermore, several other titles such as Malik and Malik al-Muluk were also used by the Buyids. On a smaller scale, the Buyid territory was also be ruled by princes from other families, such as the Hassanwahids. Military. During the beginning of the Buyid dynasty, their army consisted mainly of their fellow Daylamites, a warlike and brave people of mostly peasant origin, who served as foot soldiers. The Daylamites had a long history of military activity dating back to the Sasanian period, and had been mercenaries in various places in Iran and Iraq, and even as far as Egypt. The Daylamites, during a battle, normally bore a sword, a shield, and 3 spears. Furthermore, they were also known for their formidable shield formation, which was hard to break through. But when the Buyid territories increased, they began recruiting Turks into their cavalry, who had played a prominent role in the Abbasid military. The Buyid army also consisted of Kurds, who along with the Turks were Sunni Muslim, while the Daylamites were Shia Muslims. However, the army of the Buyids of Jibal mainly composed of Daylamites. The Daylamites and Turks often quarreled with each other in an attempt to be the dominant force within the army. To compensate their soldiers, the Buyid emirs often distributed iqtas, or the rights to a percentage of tax revenues from a province, although the practice of payment in kind was also frequently used. While the Turks were favored in Buyid Iraq, the Daylamites were favored in Buyid Iran. Religion. Like most Daylamites at the time, the Buyids were Shia and have been called 12er Shia. However, it is more likely that they began as Zaydi Shia. As the reason of this turning from Zaydi to 12er, Mu'ayyan suggests that since the Buyids were not descendants of Ali, the first Shia Imam, Zaydi's Shi'ism doctrine would have urged them to install an Imam from Ali's family. For that reason, Buyids tended toward 12er Shia, with its occulted Imam was more politically attractive to them. The Buyids rarely attempted to enforce a particular religious view upon their subjects except when in matters where it would be politically expedient. The Sunni Abbasids retained the caliphate, although they were deprived of all secular power. In addition, in order to prevent tensions between the Shia and Sunni from spreading to government agencies, the Buyid emirs occasionally appointed Christians to high offices instead of Muslims from either sect. Buyid rulers. Major rulers. Generally, the 3 most powerful Buyid emirs at any given time were those in control of Fars, Jibal and Iraq. Sometimes a ruler would come to rule more than one region, but no Buyid rulers ever exercised direct control of all 3 regions. Buyids of Fars. Imad al-Dawla 934–949, Adad al-Dawla 949–983, Sharif al-Dawla 983–989, Samsam al-Dawla 989–998, Baha al-Dawla 998–1012, Sultan al-Dawla 1012–1024, Abu Khalija 1024–1048, Abu Mansur Fulad Suchun 1048–1051, Abu Sa'd Khusrau Shah briefly in 1049 and from to 1051 to 1054, Abu Mansur Fulad Suchun 1051–1062. Power in Fars seized by the Shabankara Kurdish chief Fadluya Buyids of Rayukn al-Dawla 935–976, Fake al-Dawla 976–980, Muayyad al-Dawla 980–983, Fake al-Dawla 984–997, Majd al-Dawla 997–1029. To the Ghaznavids. Buyids of Iraq. Mu'izz al-Dawla 945–967, Izz al-Dawla 966–978, Adad al-Dawla 978–983, Samsam al-Dawla 983–987, Sharif al-Dawla 987–989, Baha al-Dawla 989–1012, Sultan al-Dawla 1012–1021, Musharraf al-Dawla 1021–1025, Jalal al-Dawla 1025–1044, Abu Khalija 1044–1048, al-Malik al-Rahim 1048–1055. To the Seljuks, minor rulers, it was not uncommon for younger sons to found collateral lines, or for individual Buyid members to take control of a province and began ruling there. The following list is incomplete. Buyids of Azradiyya, al-Dawla 980s. To the Buyids of Fars, Buyids of Hamadan Muayyad al-Dawla 976–983, Shams al-Dawla 997–1021, Samaf al-Dawla 1021–1024. To the Kakayids, Buyids of Kerman Kawam al-Dawla 1012–1028. To the Buyids of Fars, Buyids of Khuzestan Taj al-Dawla 980s. To the Buyids of Fars, family tree.